Well, a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good and well people of the tube. Hope you're feeling grand, and always well in your world. Welcome to an Orange Amp Shootout. Today we'll be shooting out between these three amplifiers, and as usual, at the end of it, I want to know which one you preferred and why. Let us know in the comment section below. So it's going to be the usual kind of thing. I'm going to do a cleanish kind of sound because I don't like to play super clean. I don't really enjoy it, but I'm going to play fairly clean, and I'm going to do distortion kind of thing. Just simple chords, nothing kind of crazy. Just so you can hear the differences. I think you'll hear the differences more in clean than you will distortion. But saying that, the distortion sounds of these things I think are kind of like quite drastically different. Actually, it's quite strange. Anyway. But the amp we're shooting out, I should maybe mention that one as well, is the Orange Crush series, the 30 watt series. Well, technically, that one there and that one there are 35 watts, and that's a 30. But I can tell you now, that one is the loudest out of these three. That one there is the loudest. So, as far as I can tell, that's the first Crush. That's the first iteration of the Crush. That's the second, and that's the third. So, this is just called the Crush 30. That's called the Crush 35 LDX. And that one's the Crush 35 RT. They've all got reverb. That one has a real spring reverb, though. The first one there has the real spring reverb. This has got a digital reverb, but this has got multiple effects. The LDX has multiple effects, which I really like. And the RT over here has just bog standard digital reverb, which I don't think is very strong and particularly that great. But that's me. I think the reverb in the LDX and the reverb in the Crush 30 is 10 times better. The reverb in the LDX is just ridiculous. It's awesome. It's really versatile. But yeah, so they're all kind of same amp, but just first, second, and third iterations of the same amp, so to say. And this is kind of where they ended up. Personally, I think they nailed it there, and then they did refine it a little bit more here. I don't see the reason for this one to exist. These two, this one here and that one there, have built-in tuners, which work really well as well. And I like that feature. I like the fact the amp's got a built-in tuner. That's really cool, especially for a beginner amp. But even if you're not a beginner, it's great. Full stop. I've used the tuner in this one loads as I've been messing around with it, so it's really cool. So yeah. Another thing we're going to do today in this shootout is I'm not going to mic up the amps. We're going to use the room mic so you can hear the amp in the room, not through a 57. You're just going to hear it sounds like in the room. And I want to do this as kind of like a little kind of like experiment to see kind of like, how it sounds. Because when you kind of put a mic in front of something, it can kind of not muddy the waters. It gives you a bit more of a clearer sound. But I like to be able to hear what the amp sounds like in a room, if it fills the room. Because if you put a mic on something, it can sound good, but when you hear it in the room, the amp might not be filling the room, and you might want that, if you know what I mean. So today, we're just going to use the XY mic on top of the Zoom Q8, and just basically go down the line. So the whole thing, I'm going to be using my Oswald John Strat today. The whole thing is going to be clean, distortion. Simple as that. And then what we'll do is I'll go and have a listen, and then I'll give you my final thought on which one I preferred. And like I say, please let me know which one you preferred. I've got to thank my friend Richard for the loan of this one here. This one's not mine. These two are mine. But my friend Richard, this is his amp here. So thank you, Richard, for the loan of this amp. And I've also got a guitar from him I need to demo as well. That'll be Monday's vid, and you'll see that on Monday. So yeah, anyway, without further ado, enough whiffle waffle. Oh, and also at the end, I'm gonna, as a bit of a kind of a giggle at the end. I've just turned on my looper. That's not cool. As a bit of a giggle at the end, what I'm going to attempt to do, I don't know if, hopefully I'll be able to do it. If not, then I will tell you at the end. But at the end of the video, I'm going to attempt to run all three as one. So the really cool thing about this first Crush is it's got a low and a high output, which means I can daisy chain an amp to an amp. So I can daisy chain this amp to this amp, and I can run both together. There will be an immense ground hum, but we're going to try it. So we're going to try run all three at the end of the video in like super stereo. Oh yeah, and by the way, the EQ on each amp is set up exactly the same on each amp. The only thing that's different is where the gain is for the cleanish tone. So, so for instance, like, well, I'll tell you what. Let me tell you. Let me just me stand up here. Okay, so all these amps are set up exactly the same. I've tried to get the reverbs kind of like identical as well. The reverb is on all amps. So the bass is all the way up. So I've got bass on 10. I've got mid on 2, so it's about 10 o'clock. I've got no treble. Treble is turned all the way off. I have volume at 4 on this one and this one. That one has to have volume on 5. For some reason, this one's the quietest. And I have gain on this one at 2. I have gain on that one at 2. And I have gain on that one at 4. So there isn't as much gain in this one as there is these two. So this one's set for gain to 2, which is 9 o'clock. So gain at 9 o'clock, gain at 9 o'clock, gain at basically 11 o'clock. Yeah, 11 o'clock on that one. But they're all set identically EQ wise. Like I say, all bass, a little bit of mid, and no treble whatsoever. I say no pedals. That's enough waffle. Let's get playing. let me know in the comment section below, which one did you prefer out of these three and why? I can tell you now, my favourite, I've just gone and had a listen back to the audio. I actually quite like the room mics. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like in the room. You know, I don't know how well that's going to come across when YouTube gets its compression mitts on it. But the sounds you heard are exactly what it sounds like, and that's exactly what I could hear in the room. For me, the one I liked the sound of the least was the RT. This one here, the third one. I didn't like it. I found it really grindy. It just didn't. There was this kind of high-end shrillness to it that I did not like. My second favourite was the 30. This one here. This was my second favourite. It sounded great and it was really nice, but it was a little bit thin, if that makes any sense. It was a big sound, but it didn't quite fill the space, I'd say. My favourite by far is the LDX. It's just, it felt the best to play through as well. It just felt the most kind of like pleasant is the only word I can think of. It just felt nice, and I like the cleanish tone. I love the distortion tone on this thing. It's really fat and warm and really round, and I really like it. Oh, and also I need to tell you something. I did change the EQ for distortion, and I'll tell you about what I did for that in a minute. I forgot to say that at the beginning because I'm silly. But I did change the EQ for distortion. But what I showed you at the beginning was the EQ for the clean tone. But my favourite by far was the LDX. I like the inbuilt effects. I like the fact it's got a tuner. It's a big sounding little amp, this is. It sounds bigger than this one. And it sounds infinitely bigger than that one. And I'm really confused by the volume of that one. The third one, the RT here is really quiet compared to these two. This is the loudest by far. The Crush 30 is definitely the loudest. That's the second loudest, and that's the quietest by a country mile. That is the quietest. It's really weird. Like when the volumes on distortion, we're on 2. When the volumes at for the distortion, I can't talk anymore. For the distortion section, when I had the volumes at about 2, which is about 10 o'clock, that volume had to be at 1 o'clock. You know, and on the clean setting, it was at 12 o'clock when these were at the same, basically. I didn't really have to mess with the volumes on these two. I had to mess with it quite a bit on that. But my favourite is definitely this. It does sound warmer, smoother. It was darker to my ear. The cleanish tone was really nice as well. It had that kind of real John Frusciante-esque kind of thing, which is I always look for in a cleanish tone. And then distortion-wise, it was just nice, fat and warm. And I always look for that distortion tone, and that was there. So this amp's amazing. I would say this amp's got a stronger mid-range, like a low mid. Like this one's got a real strong low mid. This one's got a stronger kind of mid-mid, if you will, and that's got a really high mid. It's almost treble, that amp is. The mid on that is almost treble, whereas I feel this one's a bit too clunky, that one's just right, and that one's too fizzy. But like I said, this is my opinion. Like I said, I want to hear your opinion in the comment section below. Which one did you prefer and why? So, quickly to let you know about the EQ difference. Actually, the EQ was the same on the clean channel, the cleanish sound on this amp, but it was on the distortion. So I had bass all the way up, I had mid at 10 o'clock, not at 2 if you will, no treble, and I just basically had the gain on full whack. Instead of it being at 2, I had it on full whack. The LDX I changed to my usual setting of bass, middle and treble all at 0 and the gain just gunned, and I did the exact same thing on the RT as well. I basically just kind of lower all the gain, the EQ to 0 and crank up the gain. So low, mid and high were all on 0 on this one, and the gain was on 10. Other than that, that's what it was. So which one would I go for? I'd go for the LDX myself. I personally love the LDX. The thing that guts me the most is I'm going to have to sell both of these amps. Well, I'm not selling both of them, I'm actually giving one away, but the guy I'm giving it to doesn't know about that yet, so shh. But I am giving one of these away. To a friend who's always helped me out with stuff in the past, so I'm giving it to him. And I'll sell the other one. That's my friend Richard's. Sorry, Richard. But yeah, the RT is definitely my least favourite out of these three. Sorry, but it just didn't have it just didn't sound right to me. My ear was just like, no, nope. Whereas these two, my ear was like, yeah, it really was. Excuse me. So yeah, that's the real. I don't know why they changed it from. In all fairness, when I worked in Old Hat and we first got our orange kind of endorsement deal, well, dealership deal for Old Hat, vis-a-vis orange 30 watts we got the LDXs with the inbuilt effects, and I loved this amp from the get-go. As soon as I plugged into this, I was like, it's just a small version of a CR120. It sounded the same, it responded the same, and as a bonus, it had all the inbuilt effects like delay, reverb, chorus, vibrato, flanges, cool reverbs, like really spacey reverbs and stuff like that. Which I wish the CR120 had. I wish the CR120 had the inbuilt effects the LDX had, and I don't know why they didn't put that in the CR120. It would have made it ridiculously more versatile, and especially if they were foot switchable, it would have made it incredible. But it would have been like the icing on top of the cake, so to say. But anyway, like I say, people of the tube, let me know which one you preferred and why. What was it about that one that really appealed to your ear? I like doing the room mic thing because you can hear the electric guitars clank, but you can hear the amp in the room instead of just like a 57 being kind of like, I don't have a mic up like close mic. I don't like close mic, and it's normally about 1.5 inches. It's normally about that from the grill cloth. But it was nice to hear the room sound. You know what I mean? You can kind of get an idea of how big the amp sounds. And I do feel these two amps sounded the biggest. I felt that one was lacking. It had this weird fizz and low end that I didn't get on with whatsoever, where these two seem very, very EQ'd, really nice. And I've got to say, these two respond really nicely to pedals. That one responds nice to pedals, but it fizzes. There's a fizz in that amp I don't like. I don't know if it's to do with the speaker or what, but these two amps for me are definitely on top, with that one being number 1 for me, that being number 2, and that being number 3. So like I say, enough waffle. Let's plug all 3 of these in and let's run them all together. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I've got all 3 plugged in together now, and we're going for an ABY switch, but apart from 2 amps which is daisy chained. So we've got the Crush 30 RT daisy chaining out of its input into the low input of the Crush 30 here. So out of that one, we're coming into the low input of this, and then out of the high input, we're going into the ABY switch into input B. And then we've got the LDX going into input A. So technically, they all should work. We're going to get immense ground hum because we're distorted. And I don't have a ground lift switch on my ABY switch. But let's see what happens. So this is Crush 30. I do love the distortion. It's really mid-rangey and I like it. Let's go for Crush 30 RT now. Okay, they're both working. Ground hum is going to get immense. I've got to make sure I don't peek out the camera as well. So let's put in the LDX. Immense ground hum. So, bear with me on this one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to max the reverb out on this one, max the reverb out on this one, and I'm going to put delay on this one. And to do that, we're going to have to shut these ones up. Okay, so let's just shut that one up. Let's find delay on the LDX. Okay, we found delay. Turn the other amps on as well. Chorus on the middle one. Okay, so this is getting silly, but it's all good. Okay, so let's go back to the cleanish tone. Let's try that. I'm going to leave, go back to, I think it's about there, reverb. Oh, crumbs, where am I? Oh, yeah. There we go. Bear with me, everyone. Bear with me. Okay, there we go. So now we're on a cleanish sound. This one to distorted. Otherwise we'll be here all day and I'm running out of time on the camera. Okay, so let's turn all these volumes off. Okay, so there we go. That actually worked. I'm well happy with that. I used the room mics on that as well. Just hopefully, hang on a minute. Okay, so use the room mics on that as well, just because hopefully you'll be able to pick up the whole thing instead of individually micing it, which I didn't want to do. I want you to be able to hear it in the room with amps like this, really. And people have actually asked, can like, you know, what does it sound like in the room? So I thought I would demo that, and it feels weird. Why did I put my guitar down? I'm going to put my guitar back on. It feels strange. I don't like it. Anyway, yeah, that was really cool. That was really good fun, and it sounds big. Three amps running together is really cool. Like I say, so this one's daisy chained into this one, and this one's on its own, but they're all going to the ABY switcher with all of them on. Oh, that was fun. That was fun. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That is actually ridiculous. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that picked it up okay. Hopefully you'll be able to hear kind of the difference. Like I say, at the, especially at the end, I had this orange fully distorted, and them two were set clean-ish. And at the end, I cranked the treble on that one just to make it really, really thin. But it just kind of, I don't know, I can't hear it where I was stood, but hopefully it'll come across on the camera. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like I say, in the comment section below, let me know which one you preferred out of these three. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vid. I will see you again very soon. Have a great weekend, everybody. And yeah, have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and I'll see you again on Monday for a guitar demo. And yeah, I will see you again. Hopefully get the demo of this out on Friday next week now. So before I have to put it up, well, I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll see you again. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Goodbye now.